Wish, hashtag LASD, hashtag homeless. And so talks about the importance of supporting Kayla's efforts. And then I shared with her mom earlier the opinion section. I always look in the editorial section of the paper just to make sure they're not saying anything bad about Temple City Schools. And so down in the corner, it's a little tiny comment by a gentleman in Monrovia who said that his heart was warmed by the story of the 7-year-old's birthday wish. Anything you want to say? No speech? So, Kayla, we're proud of you. We have just a little certificate for you to place in your room and remember how proud we are of you. As a little rascal. And I believe the rest of Kayla's family, because as we've said before, none of these opportunities are possible without us working together with our families. And so if you would stand and be recognized, we can just applaud for you as well. Thank you. Because that would not have been possible without your outreach as well, and the little rascal being able to have her wishes fulfilled, so thank you. All right, Mr. Bell, I'll just stay here and go back to you.
Absolutely, thank you very much, Ms. Perine. Next we have Ms. Cody Wise and Temple City High School's H2O Helping Hands organization. We welcome you, thank you very much, and I hear you have a great sister. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say.
Bailey, is it?
Yeah.
Look what she gave me. She said, please don't share with the board. So, thank you. Do you want to share a little bit about Helping Hands? Okay. We'd love you too.
Good evening. My name is Cody Wise, and I am the president of Helping Hands organization, also known as H2O. Some of you may be asking, what is Helping Hands organization? It is a club I started at the beginning of this school year that is based at Temple City High School. I created this club because I truly believed that the key to making the world a better place is to start by making your community a better place. So what we do is we fundraise for multiple local nonprofits throughout the year. All charities are within the San Gabriel Valley. About every 2 months, we focus on one charity, and all proceeds fundraised during that time period go to that charity. It's one of the reasons why my club is so unique, and another reason is that we provide monetary support, not physical volunteers, as most clubs do. So far, we have fundraised for the Pregnancy Help Center of San Gabriel Valley and the San Gabriel Valley Humane Society. The Pregnancy Help Center is a great nonprofit organization that provides ultrasounds, pregnancy tests, baby clothes, baby food, cribs, diapers, and parenting classes, all free of charge. It runs solely off of donations. The San Gabriel Valley Humane Society is the animal shelter that services Temple City and provides loving homes for animals in need. So far, H2O has fundraised $650 for the Pregnancy Help Center of San Gabriel Valley and $514 for the San Gabriel Valley Humane Society. And we did so through bake sales, calendar sales, collecting spare change, and by selling dog treats. Currently, we are fundraising for Wings, which is a shelter for battered women and children. This organization is closer to my heart because it helps provide a safe and healthy environment for those who are trying to escape harmful relationships. They are also one of the few that accept children under the age of 18. They also provide therapy for those who need it. In addition, there are activities done with the younger ones to teach them that hands aren't for hitting, but for creating and loving. So we've recently had a bake sale and fundraised about $115. To have all the fundraisers so far, we've had to buy all of the supplies out of the club members' pockets. So if you have any questions on how you can help out, whether with Helping Hands, Wings, the Pregnancy Help Center, or Humane Society, you can talk to me when you're available. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them right now.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Great.
I have a question.
Yes.
So the Wings organization, is it at a specific place nearby, or do they have what area do they cover?
They're based in San Gabriel Valley, and their exact location isn't a public thing because they don't want, the people that they're trying to help out for the person or persons who are hurting them to find them. So we had one of their representatives come and speak to our club, and they said that they have little halfway houses where they'll meet up and then take them to the actual, complex, you could say. And they also, they kind of service people from all around because they don't, let's just say there was one based in Temple City High School, or not high school, it's Temple City, and you lived in Temple City. Well, if you're trying to get away from somebody, you don't want to stay in the same city, so they might send you over to another one of their branches, or, their, I don't know what to call it, their partners or something. So, yeah, they help a lot.
Member Morrison.
Did I hear you right? You said you started this club?
Yes, I did.
And when did you start this?
I started it in September.
This year?
Yeah, this year. I actually got the help from my family. They helped me make the idea come true. So.
Is this going to be an official ASB type club at the high school?
Yeah, it is a club at the high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So obviously it's going to continue. What grade are you in?
I am a sophomore.
So what plans do you have? How big do you want this to get?
Well, we have Kayla.
So there's taking notes. Get blankets for the doggies.
I'm not sure how big I want it to get. I have thought about maybe contacting other schools for them to kind of open up their own club to service their own communities, because like I said, what makes us different is we're not one separate organization that fundraises through multiple schools for one thing. We focus on our own community, so I feel like it would be possible to expand, but it wouldn't be the same because they would have to tailor it to their own communities and their own organizations.
I wasn't suggesting expanding to other communities. Temple City is worthy enough. We do everything we can for Temple City. I just wondering how big you want to get for the groups in Temple City. So looks like you just want to keep continuing.
Yeah, I definitely want to keep this club alive as long as possible, and I'm hoping that when I graduate, there will be members willing to step up into my position and to continue it. So
How many members do you have working with you now, students?
I have around 10 students. It's not one of the bigger clubs, but I think that,
First up.
yeah, it's pretty good seeing how this was our first year.
Well, good. Well, thank you very much. It's a great honor. Same with Kayla's blankets. Great club.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you. I just want to say that you guys make us proud. I mean, you make us look good, in all honesty. So just want to thank you for your work.
Thank you.
And Cody, we have a little certificate of recognition for you as well, and then all the other things I've been collecting for you as you're, like Kayla, in a lot of print media. So congratulations, thank you for your work, appreciate it. So we'll continue, we'll continue to support that. And there's a lot of people here, some have purses, others with money in their pocket. Get them up, it's,
Next, we have our Lady Rams, the Temple City High School Girls Varsity Water Polo Team. Congratulations, by the way.
We, as you know, one of the goals that we've had over the last few years is to incorporate more students into our board meetings, because that's really what we're here for. And so as part of that, we're incredibly proud of our girls water polo team and how far they went, and some of them have, you know, confided in me their disappointment, but we've assured them of our pride. So that's why you're here tonight. So I'm going to ask Coach to come up, say a few words, and then we have certificates for all of you. We'll have you come up one at a time, no speech. You can donate to Helping Hands if you'd like, or if Phyllis covers. So Coach Oscar Dorado, come on up.
Good evening. My name is Oscar Dorado. I'm not very good with words when it comes down to speaking in public, so bear with me. I just want to let you know that the girls water polo team had a phenomenal season this year. It's a great group of players that worked very hard from the beginning of the season to the end. I can't be prouder of what they did this season. Such a big accomplishment. I've been with the group for, this will be my third season, and coaching these girls, watching them grow as players and students, and you know, it's been a wonderful experience working here in the district with, you know, such a group like that. It's been very, very interesting, and they've been very supportive all the way through. So I'm very thankful that you know, they're being recognized here in front of the board. And you know how much work they've done and how hard they've been working all season long as a team. So. First certificate goes to Gabby Seacat. Next, it will be next certificate goes to Nancy Train. Bianca Vera. Eleanor White. Lauren White. Jaylene Yegian. Kate Ferguson.
Congratulations.
Jennifer Hart. Lindsay Erie. Christy Lamb. Ray Lopez. Nicole Risley. Sydney Ayrton. Shadia Barakat. Sophia Chang. Camille Chang.
And then I won't make you call your own name, Coach. Coach Dorado. A Assistant Coach Adriana Argueta. And Volunteer Assistant Ricardo Vera.
We should. Jump over.
Should we be cautious?
Yes, we should be on the, we should be.
Everybody's face, so
Make sure you see Vince's face. See Vince's face? I think they're cutting us out, Vince. I think they're cutting us out. Jerry definitely needs to get us.
Yeah. Excellent, thank you. Excellent. Thank you very much, everyone. Next we have public comment on agendized and non-agendized items. We do have one public comment this evening. Mr. Robert Leonard, would you like to come up, please, and address the board? Good evening.
Hello. Sorry, some of this that I'm going to mention about the leadership happened, a few weeks back. My kids were in the play, the Music Man, and so for the past month we've all been up till 11 o'clock at night. So I apologize if some of this seems old hat. My question and comments are about the district and school leadership. My school is Longton. I have 2 kids at Longton. So from, all the accomplishments that, everybody has had, in the sports that were just recognized. In my opinion, at the root of the reason why we're here, which is to educate our kids, we're lacking. And of course, there may be things that you're working on, because I have expressed my opinion to folks who have come to the principal meetings from time to time, and as I've caught people here and there, I have expressed my opinion. But now that we've had such a change at Longden, like our principal meeting, I was just getting used to Mr. Rudd, now he's going. And before that was Ms. Thompson. And so, I do like Ms. Hong, but it seems everybody's on a 2-year track over there, so I'm coming here for a little bit more stability. So, along the lines of our principal leaving at Longden, I question the leadership due to the lack of leadership I observed. From my perspective, the superintendent or a similar level member from the district office should have been present on campus to take the focus of the anger and frustration of the parents, not Ms. Hong. Her job was to be the interim principal and to, make the change happen and to facilitate the change. But, on the first, coffee with the principal, she got surrounded and she was in the middle of it. And all the questions that were being asked, as the saying goes, were above her pay grade. So, when your boss gets fired, per se, I know there's, different hierarchies, From my viewpoint, she's saying, she doesn't know, of course she doesn't know, but then the anger and frustration was there. And if you're stepping up into a position and your first impression is, hey, this person does nothing, they can't answer nothing, I don't want to talk with that person. And as I walked away from that meeting, a few of the parents did express that. I would have liked to have seen leadership from the district welcoming Ms. Hong, announcing Ms. Hong, encouraging the community to support her. Not Ms. Hong having to stand up for herself, because we know Ms. Hong can do it. She got hired as vice principal for a reason. So, she's doing well, it seems, but that is the change in which, from a leadership perspective, I see is lacking. That leads to me to another theme, which is district change. Every year there is change. In education, there's always change. In the past couple of years, it has been Common Core. So, in my opinion, the rollout of Common Core has been extremely underwhelming and frustrating. And just recently, in one of the coffee with the principals, Ms. Hong mentioned we are now looking at STEAM, which I'm a little hesitant about because I don't know where we stand with Common Core. So I am frustrated because the leadership between the district office and the schools doesn't seem to have been able to establish a manner of leadership and communication about grade level changes. What to expect as a parent going from one grade to the next. Various maps have been, and expectations have been put on the web, but not with a whole lot of fanfare. They've just been posted, and going through our website is, it's worse than a minefield. I mean, that's a different topic. The information is up there, you have to know where to find it. So for example, part of this whole journey for me with Common Core, trying to figure out where my kids are at, has been such that in the 2014 to 2015 school year, there was no mention of the update as it pertained to the Common Core. During the 2013 to 2014 school year, there was much ado about the common standards. Ooh, here it comes. So then at the beginning of the 2014 to 2015 school year, the back to school night, Mr. Rudd up there, I asked him, hey, what's going on with Common Core? What are the changes? I heard nothing all summer. What am I to expect? He passed me to a district official who did address my questions, and I got some information that was at a national level at that time, and then I was directed to the teacher. When I went to the teacher during her back to school presentation, she did not mention Common Core, so I asked the question. I got a look. A long box. felt a fence growing between me on the first day of school. It was just right there. That was last year my kids were in 3rd grade. In 4th grade, I feel that same fence. That there is not a common way of communicating what's going on. So if I, as a parent from the underside, have been asking teachers individually, what's going on? What am I to expect this year? I mean, they go through their presentation, but it doesn't involve what's changing, what to expect. I'm not getting anywhere. I'm building fences where there shouldn't be. So, to me, that's where I need the leadership to step in and figure out, what's going on. And I've talked with other parents, and we with the principals, and I'm away for my kid, and they have expressed similar, frustrations when they're trying to figure out what's going on. Which leads me to kind of my third comment, which is about leading grade school children. And we all know they always get their facts straight the first time, every time. So they come home and say, how was your day at school, Dad? Great. I don't know salt for X. Can you teach me? Of course, son. Let's go to the board. It never happens. I wish it did. But the core mission, the whole reason why we are here, the whole reason why we have buildings and polo teams and everything else is the education of our kids in partnership. Yet the partnership seems to be quite dysfunctional, to say the least, because back there on the back board is every update about the building, about our website updates, about the polo team. And for all that said, there's 6 hours of the school day. I have no idea what's going on. I have no forward warning about where we are on the Common Core map. And I am not asking for specifics. Every teacher is different. Every teacher per class will cover a subject at their given time, at their given pace. I understand that, and I do not want to take away from any individual teacher's ability to conduct their classroom. But in broad strokes, where are we going? At home, if I know we're getting into fractions and we're setting the dinner table, I would like to say, son, I would like a quarter cup of milk, please. You might end up giving me 3/4, 1/2, something, but I can work it in support of what the teacher is teaching. If I know in broad strokes that we're working on predictions, and I kind of know that ahead of time, yes, I will not encourage my kid to read the entire book. I got my kids in trouble at the beginning of the year for that very reason, which could have been very easily communicated to me. Hey, parents, whoa, you may have already read it over the summer, but pretend you don't know anything. Okay. No problem. But there isn't that communication. We have more ways to communicate now than ever before. Email, remind, blackboard, telephone, paper notes, text, seeing somebody on the street. I mean, just it goes on and on. I just took the LCAP and, the list. How do you want to be notified? Good Lord. That thing went on and on. Nobody's using it. They tell me when, it's silly sock day. They tell me when, hey, we have a readathon. That's all well and good, but are we moving on to fractions or are we not? Are we moving on to something else in the reading program? Are we skipping a chapter? Where are we in social studies? So the only consistent form of leadership that I hear is silence. So I need help.
Mr. Leonard, thank you very much. Certainly, us as a board and as a district, we hear your concerns. We welcome and appreciate positive criticism about how we can do better. I think if you have an opportunity, please feel free to contact us at the district level, and I think somebody will continue to try and address some of these concerns that you have. So thank you. We do appreciate you bringing this to us in this positive manner. I, myself, being a parent of a 6th grader, understand some right, now we are going to move on to update on district issues. First, we have business services, Mr. Ralph.
Nothing to report tonight.
Reports this evening, okay. And services, I think this Dr. Bettini is. Okay, as I understand it, she's presenting at a conference this evening, or today. Next, we have personnel services, Mr. Kuda.
Nothing to report, sir.
All righty, okay. Moving on along, we have bargaining unit comments. First, we have Temple City Education Association. All right. And next, we have CSEA 105, Ms. Pan. All right, okay. And then we have CSEA 823, Mr. Niles. Okay, Mr. Niles. All right, so let's go ahead and let's keep moving along. We have student board member comments. Ms. Weiss, how are we doing this evening?
I'm great,
All
thank
right.
you. So first off, I would like to congratulate Kayla and the water polo team for their amazing accomplishments. They've definitely showed the greatness that is in our district, and I think what they're doing from a high school level all the way down to an elementary school level just shows how much our district is focused on character and basically building our students into better people. And I want to congratulate my sister. I think she did an amazing job. If she could fundraise for my college fund, that would be great. And then other than that, I enjoyed the musical. It was really great to see all my friends up there. And ASB is in full swing for our spring assembly, which is taking place tomorrow. The theme is secret currently, so people will be surprised when they find out tomorrow. We're working on Sadie's, which is April 15th, that's coming up, so ASB is working hard. We have a bunch of worker bees going on, a lot of preparation for that. And along with that, we have our prom theme announcement, which is coming out tomorrow. And I would also like to extend my congratulations to our pep team at the high school who competed at USA Nationals this past weekend at the Anaheim Convention Center. Cheer took second place at Nationals. Pep Flags took third, and Song took 11th out of 36 teams, which is a very, very competitive field. So that's a very big accomplishment in and of itself. And I would also like to send good luck to our choreo team, who is also competing at the MDGT Nationals this weekend.
Wow, that's a whole bunch. Thank you so much for the update. And we get very excited about all the announcements that are going to be there for tomorrow for you guys. Team, that's a big, big thing. All right. Next, we have board member comments. Member Pomeroy.
Okay, all right, Mr. Bell, trying to do my part to keep us on schedule. Having said that, I've got a long list of things here that I want to talk about. I want to just to highlight a couple of events that I was fortunate to be able to attend. I did attend the festival concerts both at the high school and also at Oak. And as always, I was very impressed with the level of performance. You know, we really are very fortunate in our district to have exceptional music programs. And it's when you talk to folks from other districts or other places and you realize maybe what kind of program they used to have, but don't anymore, or certainly don't have to the extent that we do. That's when you really appreciate it. And it's really the investment of time by the particular teachers we have and the great support from the community going back decades. So I enjoyed those tremendously. Of course, the Music Man, I believe, happened since the last time we were here, so I can talk about it, and that was outstanding. I really wanted to go a second night, I just couldn't fit it in. I really wanted to see it again. I went to the My Own Story event, which was put on by the ELD, that's English Language Development Support Group. Teresa Huang leads that group at the high school. She had brought some of the students here a few weeks back, and it was a wonderful event, and I was glad to see Ms. Perini, our superintendent, there, and Ms. Sorrell was also there, and speaking about ways to expand programs like that. You know, I appreciate that we have information presented to us at the board. That's what we're here for, is to receive information. That's why we have board meetings, in large part. And you know, unfortunately, at a meeting, we're not really able to respond directly for things that aren't put on the agenda. But I'll just point out, as far as Longdon goes, because that was brought up, I'm the guy on the board who had kids go through Longden, and there were a number of changes when my kids were there, so I'm certainly very sensitive to that, and I'm, on behalf of, well, I can't speak on behalf of the board because I'm only one board member, so on behalf of myself, I want to hear more, and I want to help work to improve, which of course we can always do. And then for our, the groups that we were celebrating tonight, they're great examples of many good things that are happening in the district, and I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member Pomeroy. Member Olber?
Just a couple of quick observations. One, I wish everybody happy Good Friday and Good Easter. They're coming up. Also, I was fortunate enough to attend the music band, and it just demonstrates how much talent our students do have and how many vehicles we have for the performing arts to be able to do that. Also, I guess coming up in April 29th, I think at La Rosa, they're gonna have a STEAM night. Also, I don't know if it's a 20.
I think the date changed possibly.
Oh, is it already? Okay. And then also at Emperor, they're gonna have a STEAM night, which used to be math and science, which is now gonna be on March 24th, which is Thursday, this coming Thursday from 6:30 to 8, to demonstrate some of the skills at that school. Also, one of the things that came up at the principals meeting at Longden, and also I saw it at Emperor, is that they had a private company help with fundraising, where they had read-through, I think it is, it's a private company. At Longden, they raised close to $10,000 for the PTA for the school, and at Emperor, I think they're at 8,000 plus. I don't know if they make 10,000, but I think they're getting close to it. It's something that maybe some of the other schools might want to take a look at as a vehicle for fundraising, rather substantial amount of money is raised. Longden had about 200 people involved in it out of over 1,000 students, but they still raised $10,000, and the private company helps, I think. They don't have to do the school doesn't have to do anything other than sit back and collect the money, I hope. They may have other stuff. Also, one of the things that's come up at some of the meetings at Longden, and just an observation, but sometimes the parents are frustrated because their kid is in class and they go and the kid talks about either Common Core or the state standard now. They talk about it, but then they try to go to the state standards on the website, and they can't get a correlation between what the students in the classroom is doing and what's on the website. There isn't this correlation that makes it easy for the parents who want to help their kids are at a great disadvantage because they don't have the skill level, I guess, or the information so that it ties the stuff together. Now we throw in STEAM in, and once again, there isn't anywhere they can go to see how it's tied into the classroom so they can help their kid, or kids, depending on things. So those are just some of the observations that have come up. But I think it's at least the meeting with the principals at Longden is a good forum for the parents if they have questions. It's a good place and a good place to meet the principal in the center. So it has been, I think, beneficial in that sense. Also, I was fortunate enough to go to My Own Stories, which was performed at the high school and demonstrated some of the stories of some of our immigrants. And there was a lot to be done, I think, and it's something that we can look at, maybe to expand, take a hard look at least. Just a couple of side things. One of them was one of the insurance companies came up with a program to be able to finance some of their employees who have student loans by helping to reimburse them as a way of being able to maintain employees for a longer period of time. Whether it helps us or not, I don't know. And also, in about 2020, Kaiser will open a medical school in Pasadena. We'll have in Caltech a medical
wanted to also comment on how great the Music Man was. And as a former season ticket holder of the Civic Light Opera that used to perform there, where they were required to have 6 equity performers on stage. What our high school is doing now is continuing that great tradition of Roger Lockey and Bill Shaw, and it's totally amazing, the quality that they're putting on, the quality of the orchestra, the crew, the parents, our teachers that are supporting it. I was really blown away by the choreography, Jen McCreary helping with the choreography, and seeing all those kids on stage at the same time was amazing. So if you missed it, you missed a great one. I always say, don't miss it each year. It's a great musical. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member Morrison.
Well, obviously I support all the performing arts groups that we have, and I'm not gonna go through all the congratulations again, because it's been done several times now, but I'm there. So yes, Ember is doing their STEAM night tomorrow night. It's been called the Math and Science Family Night before. I think they've been doing it for years and years and years. If I'm not mistaken, I think they may have even started this whole thing for our district. They're like the rogues out there getting everything going. So I'm looking forward to a great night. I think it's 4th, 5th, and 6th grades that are putting on their exhibits, but in the last 2 or 3 months, or even longer, Emperor has taken all the grades, K through 6, and exposed them to computer science, coding. Kindergartners are doing coding in their curriculum, creating code to control robots and other type of robotics. So it's just phenomenal what the teachers have been able to do at Emperor and just raise the bar on their own. Learn the things, try and get support. We're all trying to support them as best we can. We're trying to keep up with them in the first place because they're just mavericks and pushing us through. And when I first got on board, I didn't really quite understand what they're doing. I was at other school sites. Now that I'm getting more immersed as a board member and seeing everything's important, but this is something that we're focused on, if I may use that word, and I don't mean that we're focused only on this, but STEAM. But then it would take some time now to really, I guess, get involved more with the older grades at Emperor, because my son's younger. He's not in 4th, 5th, he's 2nd, 3rd grade, so I didn't know what the 4th, 5th, and 6th graders are doing. And it's just phenomenal, what they're going to do with math and science. So I just really appreciate the teachers at Emperor. It's not just Emperor, it's everywhere. Last week I talked about Cloverly Student Council. This week I'm talking about Emperor. Next week it'll be Longden or somebody. But I just want to let everyone know that how proud I am of the Emperor staff and the teachers for their push in raising the bar for student achievements in computer science. And I'll make it short. Our drumline, I spoke about them at the last meeting. They had gone to Las Vegas and had taken 3rd place to qualify for regional championships. Well, the regional championships were last weekend, and they took 2nd place. These kids, like all of our groups and teams, they really, really work hard, and a lot of it's on their own. They have the perseverance to really push themselves through the obstacles to get where they've got to be and do what they have to do. They take great pride in what they produce because it's for Temple City. Yes, they do it for themselves, but their goal is to make Temple City proud, put Temple City on the map, and that's exactly what they've been doing. So congratulations to them. They've earned it. And on a sadder note, condolences to the Fisher family. Sylvia Fisher lost her husband John Fisher this last week. I had the privilege of serving with John on the Personnel Commission here, and he served on that commission for many years, 15 years, something along those lines. He literally helped write the book the Temple City Personnel Department uses to keep us out of litigation and how to treat staff, classified employees fairly. Because it is the right thing to do, and he was a champion for that. Very knowledgeable in HR. I believe he was a labor lawyer. And so he was appointed by the unions to represent, be that third triangle of the Personnel Commission. He was passionate of making everything fair for the district. And it was a privilege to work with him. So, you know, if I may be so bold, I would like to ask that when it's time to adjourn our regular meeting tonight, that we do so in John's honor.
Absolutely. All right, thank you very much, Member Marston. Again, yes, I echo all the great comments by my fellow board members. Unfortunately, I fell ill and I missed the first musical that I missed in a number of years, and I do apologize, but I did hear from everyone that I've spoken to how outstanding it was. Did get a chance to attend one of the music festivals, and that was for the high school. Amazing. That's the only word I'm going to use. Got a chance to watch the same show that Ms. Teresa Wong put together for the ELD kids with my own story. Very powerful in a sense that I connected personally, because all those things really did actually happen to me for some strange reason during my time here. But you know, all positives at the end, and that's what I told the kids. Also want to congratulate Ms. Moreno, Ms. Dee Moreno, and Ms. Nikki O for being honored this past Friday as the part of the Distinguished Women of the Year group for 49th District, representing San Gabriel Valley by Assemblyman Ed Chow for their outstanding work in at La Rosa, working with the kids to advance their education. Truly deserving with the company of some great women. And for steam night, be there tomorrow. It'll be a lot of fun. I want to congratulate, of course, all the groups that were here, that we honored. Clearly, it's a validation of the hard work that we continue to do together as a group, and we will continue that forward. So, thank you very much. I will turn it over to Superintendent Green.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. I really don't have any other comments other than those that I made earlier this evening. I think the board has encapsulated very well what the great things that are going on. And the only other piece that I'll add is, and we'll come back at a little later time, I appreciate the comments on the communications team is not separate from the Common Core. And so it's clear that we need to do a better job of communicating on how that is not, it is all part and parcel to the way education is going today. So we'll do a better job of addressing those pieces for everyone. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, do we have any written communications this evening? Anybody? No? Okay. All right, let's go ahead and move forward to the discussion information item portion of our board meeting. Items that the board would like to discuss or information presented to the board. These items do not require board action. First, we have business services, and I believe we're going to get a report in regards to Measure S and the Citizens Oversight Committee and their annual report. Ms. Gordon, hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Board members, Superintendent Brady, and guests, it is my pleasure to bring you the annual report from the Measure S Citizens Oversight Committee. I would like to introduce the members of the committee who are present tonight: Gina Aparicio, Lucy Liu, Will McKnight, Cindy Vance, and Stephen Tyler, who's absent tonight, who's our chairperson, and I myself, the vice chairperson. The Oversight Committee conducted quarterly business meetings, which included budget updates and project status reports. The committee continued to visit school sites where construction was underway to familiarize the committee with projects on each site. We visited Temple City High on the following dates: April 22nd, 2014, July 3rd, 14, 10/9/14, and September 10th, 15. Doug Sears on January 22nd, 15, 4/23/15, and 8/17/15. We visited La Rosa on August 17th, 15, and Cloverly on August 17th, 15th, and January 14th, 16th of this year. We visited during various phases of each site and toured Doug Sears after its completion. On April 23rd, 2015, we received and reviewed the annual audit report for the calendar year 2014. On behalf of the Measure S Citizens Oversight Committee, I am pleased to inform you that the district is in compliance with Article 13A, Section 1B of the California Constitution, and the current projects are authorized under Measure S. From the Citizens Oversight Committee, I am Sherry Goen, Vice Chairman, has completed the report.
All right. Well, thank you very much for helping to keep an eye on how progress is going for our current bond measure, which is a tremendous project that's going to go on for many years to come. And we really appreciate the time that you volunteered and spent to be a part of this committee, because it is very important for us, and not just as a board, as a district, as a community, to maintain that transparency. So on behalf of the rest of the board and the district, thank you so much for your hard work. All right. Okay. Let us. And next we have. I apologize, Member Pomeroy.
Can I make a brief comment?
Absolutely.
Okay, sorry, I don't want to get us off schedule. But and I appreciate the preparation of the update regarding the status of the projects. Mostly I wanted to thank each individual member of the Citizens Oversight Committee, thank you. And together with the Personnel Commission, we have individuals that are collectively with us are helping to oversee things, and of course helping to do things so that we don't have to. But I just want to thank each of you individually for the time you've put into the district, and that I know you'll each continue to put into the district. And as we go forward, because as the board we do discuss future projects, and we, on the agenda tonight, we're taking action on certain contracts and things. So given the base of knowledge you have, I certainly encourage each of you to come and participate with us as we go forward. Thank you, President Brown.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Member Pomeroy. Okay, let's go ahead and let's move on to the next item on our agenda, administration. We're going to have an update on technology and our year 8. Mr. Harper, good evening.
Excited to be here tonight, because as you know, the last time I was here, we kind of talked about what are we going to do to build that 21st century network. And today we're going to change that to building our 21st century network. So we'll start actually doing something, not just looking at what we need to do. So first, just to remind you of last time, what I talked about when I just talked about what the capabilities would be of that new network. Individualized education, expanding device support. One of the big things when you build a big network like that is the schools find out very quickly we can use all our devices. We don't need to use some of them at a time because they're not supported. We can use every single device we have on school at the same time because of this network. So that's really where we get into expanded device support. And then for infusion of technology into instruction, that's just about getting our users to trust the network again. Trust that every day it's going to be up and running. All right, so where we are today, and in my 9 months here, did a lot of looking around schools, a lot of listening to people talk, looking at things on my own. We do have cabling problems at every site. Leave it at that. We have insufficient bandwidth for our future needs. We talk about all those devices used at the same time. That's when we'll start getting into current bandwidth is insufficient for that. Inadequate internet speed. We know that most of the traffic that comes from our schools doesn't want to stop at the district office and use one of the applications there. No, they're going out to the internet. So while we have sufficient bandwidth connecting the district office to the schools, at the same time, we need to update the internet connection to meet that increasing bandwidth demand. Network equipment, that's a tough one. We go look at a network equipment, and they aren't the same switches. They're different switches, different models. Some models that shouldn't even be on our network. They are different manufacturers. So that is something we absolutely needed to look at. And then wireless. Wireless is an interesting one because we may have a building that has an access point in every classroom. Wireless is pretty good. Yet then we go into a 2-story building on that campus and there's 2 wireless access points for the whole building. So wireless needed to be looked at. And then a data center. If you're going to have a network that's always up, that data center is crucial for that network. Okay, so where are we going? Capacity and reliability. Those will be 2 of the key words. Let's build capacity for everything we want to do and we're going to want to do in the future. And absolutely we need reliability. That's going to come in new fiber and wireless cabling, bandwidth for now and for the future, and complete wireless coverage that not only includes inside but outside. That's going to be new network equipment and standard network equipment. You should go to every IDF on campus, every school in our network, and see the same network equipment. That's pretty easy to understand. That's how you support it. So that you don't have to think, okay, I'm going to this school, what network equipment do they have? What hat do I need to put on to support that school? And then we'll create our data center. It's not building a new building, it's just taking the current data center and making it into a professional data center. And then reliable phones. I'll leave it at that. All right, so do we need to do everything now? I think to answer that question, let's get into network uptime. What's at network uptime? In my definition, those are problem-free days. Days when the network behaves, it's working perfectly. So if you ask me the question in 5 years, what has our uptime been? I would be nice and say 90 to 91%. The reporting I've looked at will say 90 to 91%. It could be lower than that, but that's probably about what it is. Districts, businesses, they measure their network uptime in nines. It's 99 point, are you 1 9? Are you 2 nines? Are you 3 nines? If you can get to 99.999, if you ask your users, they'll say you're 100%. They'll say that network's never gone down. That network's never down. They don't know that little 1 at the end that makes, loses that last line. The network's always up. And that's what we need to think about when we talk about, do we need to try to do everything now? So what work has already been started? Focusing a little on the data center. Purchased, haven't been installed yet, but new network cabinets. I'll show you some pictures next. Purchase new backup power with notification. What I mean by that is notification. We have a power outage. It'll send me a text. Lost line power. Puts me on alert. I'll know if that equipment's going to stay powered up or if a few hours later it's going to go down. That's what I mean by notification. So here's our current data center. Let's see. So, not too much need to be said. Doesn't exactly look professional. Okay, let's look at our new data center. Let's see. Just kidding. That's actually part of one of Google's data centers. That would be nice. I love the green light. Here's what I've purchased. So we've purchased this data cabinets that don't build this incredible data center. It just builds a professional one. You know, let's look. This data center is going to be controlling lots and lots of bandwidth. It needs to be professional.
Where's this gonna be located?
That's the third floor of this building. That picture is from the third floor of this building. The room is fine. The room is plenty big enough to build that data center. All right, so what did I focus on after realizing what we need to do? So focused on bandwidth and cabling. I've already mentioned that, school fiber and cabling. 10 gig bandwidth upgrade. School 10 gig bandwidth upgrade. What that means, that's that connection from the school to the district office. And then an internet for internet access, a 10 gig bandwidth upgrade. For network equipment, school network equipment, all the same, like I said, and school wireless. Real quick on school wireless. Why I say indoor and outdoor, because when you put an access point in every classroom, those access points have a neighbor relationship together. They know each other exists, so they power down. Because they don't need to provide access for the whole building, they need to provide access for the classroom, because they know a neighbor is taking care of the next classroom. Therefore, you don't get a lot of bleed over to the outside. You take a step out of that building, you get 10, 15, 20 feet away, your wireless just drops down. Because there's not enough coming through the walls. So that's why you have to have a strong inside wireless and a strong outside wireless. Data center and phone system. All right, so let's talk a little bit about E-rate changes and about where we are in E-rate. So when we talk about E-rate, these E-rate contracts that are in front of you, that's 2016 and 17. That starts July 1 for those recurring services. So that begs the question, well, why is it such a priority that we're approving those contracts now? It's because we're currently in an application window that goes till the end of April. And now that we're in March, if we go ahead and approve our those contracts and we get our applications in, we're getting our applications in a good month before that window closes. And on a first come, first served basis for E-rate looking at your application, that puts us in a pretty good place. Doesn't guarantee that we're going to get early approval, but it puts us in a pretty good place. That's why it's a priority that we enter those applications as soon as possible. Because over the 19 years of E-rate, what's been the same is that the last 2 weeks of a funding window, almost 80% of the applicants enter those applications. So you want to be in the line with 80% or near the front of the line with the 20% that do it early. That's what we're thinking.
I'm sorry, just to step back. E-rate, so it's funding from the state.
E-rate is federal.
Right.
So it's funding from the FCC.
Right.
It's administered by USAC.
The United States something.
Yeah, that's a vendor.
Okay, and I'm sure you might get to this, and so you're talking about an application window, and so we put our application in and we don't get approved, then what?
Okay, so we don't get approved. That's a good question. So there is only, in my opinion, a small chance we don't get approved. But let's say we don't. Does that change the needs we have? Absolutely not. We still have the same needs. What that comes down to is prioritization. We prioritize what is the priority, and we figure out how we can pay for that without E-rate paying 60% of it. That's what happens. We still have the same needs. Some of them we can adjust, we can scale them back, some of them we can't, but we pay, without E-rate, we pay 100% of it. There is an added E-rate budget. It's per school, it's based on enrollment, it's a one-time amount for 5 years. Meaning that you may have your bids come back with more than what your E-rate budget is for school. Therefore, you may have some of that you run up to the E-rate budget only. The rest of it now we're having to cover fully without discount. That's what that E-rate budget does. So what that looks like with our enrollment at our schools, $150, I've got to explain a little bit, $150 per student is the pre-discount, meaning that is the project cost. It's actually an easier way to look at it. Look at all your project costs, add those projects up, and does that meet the budget? If it doesn't, go up to the budget, the rest of it's your responsibility. The E-rate discount, based on our E-rate budget, about $543,000. That's the E-rate discount we can get if we maximize the E-rate budget. Again, that E-rate budget being by school means that we can't always maximize it completely, because obviously higher population of kids, the more money we get in that budget. And again, E-rate timeline, just import the complete applications now. All right, so let's take contract number 1, school wide area network. What does that mean? That simply means that is the connection from the school to the district office. Okay. Project costs $168,000 per year before discount. What is that? Our current rate for 1 gigabit per second is $7,000 per month before discount. We received a quote because we have a current contract with Synesis, which is who this is. They quoted us double that, $14,000 a month before discount, for a 10 times upgrade in speed. So going from 1 gigabit per second to 10 gigabit per second. To give you an idea, 10 gigabit, that is a huge amount of capacity for a school. A huge amount of capacity that will last us probably, I would say 6, but more than likely 10 years. And we'll still be fine with a 10 gig LAN connection, wide area network connection, school to district office. So E-rate discount, which is basically just 60% of that, $100,800, leaving $67,200 is our recurring yearly cost for the wide area network, which is 7 connections to us. For our 7 sites. Okay, so that's that first one. That district costs will go down even more because there's some additional discounts we can get for that. We just haven't. We don't have enough information yet from this to determine exactly what that discount is. That's why you don't see it a little lower than that. Okay, internet connection. So this is the connection, the district office internet connection that all the schools use. The project cost on this is $155,770. That is for a 10 gigabit per second internet connection. Again, that is a lot of bandwidth and one that will easily last us 6 to 10 years. E-rate discount, it's a little less, so E-rate discount is $93,000, leaving $62,308. School fiber and cabling for wireless. I do have to quickly mention, you see the reoccurring costs of category 1. When I talked about that budget for E-rate, that budget is only for category 2. It's not for category 1 expenses. Category 1 expenses are now broadband expenses. Those are considered broadband expenses, so those do not count towards your category 2 budget. And then the school network equipment, that is one that we will bring to you later. quickly go over our phone grade, our Jive contract, which is our current phone provider, ends on June 30th, 2016. We're looking at a new system that is a completely different design, designed completely different, which is the standard design for it. Doesn't require the internet, even though it's a voice over IP phone. Internet can be down, that phone will still operate fully. New phones, robust and long-lasting equipment, and a low operating cost. So, bonus.
Excuse me. Will this use the WAN that's between the district office and the school sites?
Yes.
So if it goes down,
Yeah, the WAN, if
What
the WAN
happens?
goes down, one thing I can mention, it was a completely excellent, solid decision a year or 2 years ago to decide to go to Synesis. Because Synesis is a reliable company, and there is, I would even call it a 99.5% chance their fiber never goes down. It is very, very reliable. Typically the only time their fiber would go down, because this is direct fiber, so there's no equipment on that between our schools and us, it's fiber. The only time it goes down is if there's a wire cut.
right, so where's the fiber gonna be run? Is it gonna be in cable that's going through the, across the telephone pole?
It's run according to the city. If the city's overhead, it's run on power poles. If the city's underground, it's run underground. They have to go through they have to do what the city allows. But
Is this done already?
Microphone,
Has
please.
this been done already, the cable's in place already?
yes, Synesis, when you decided a year ago, 2 years ago to do Synesis, they did the work of running the cable. So what's involved with going from 110 to 10 gig is optics. There's optics on either end of that fiber. Instead of 1 gig optics, you use 10 gig optics. It's a simple piece of equipment that gets changed.
Member Ritz.
One of the things I've always heard about fiber connections is you build them with a ring so that there is redundancy. Does our existing or plan have that redundancy, that there's two different loops to it?
We do. I was limited on looking at a ring technology. That's usually considered dark fiber, meaning it's fiber that they just run the fiber, you provide the optics. So that is very advantageous for a district, for our district, because we have complete control. We can say, yeah, we're not going to be 10 gig, we're going to be 40 gig, or we're going to be 100 gig if we can afford to buy those optics. But the limitation we had for doing that now is that we were only 1 year into a Synesis 5-year contract. We would have a hefty price to get out of that contract, which would preclude us. But that does not mean that's not in our future. In our future, that would be a very good place to be moving forward, is to have dark fiber where you're in complete control of the speed. So,
I'm sorry, excuse me.
No.
So that, we're still talking about simply voice over IP?
No,
As far as this dark fiber?
No,
And it's in the WAN that we're
yeah,
talking about?
that steps us all the way back to when we talked LAN and internet. That's where dark fiber comes in the mix. So right now, it's called lit fiber service from Synesis, meaning that they give us the optics. We don't have to control the optics. But it's a good time, and moving forward, it'll be a good time to look at dark fiber because optics prices have come down so much. There's a lot of people that make optics. And so whereas you may be paying 6 figures to get a 40 gig optic 3, 4, 5 years ago, that's not the case now. They're much more lower cost, which means it's not as big a deal for pre-lit to do a pre-lit service versus a dark service. And we can use the same provider. Synesis can convert to a dark solution. So Once we get up to 10 gig, I can start having those conversations with citizens to say, what would that look like? What would you do with our 5-year contract if you converted to a dark fiber solution? Yeah, so I would be very interested in that. I just wanted to show here that this is a complete and comprehensive plan and vision. It starts in the classroom, access points in every classroom, multiple access points in bigger areas like the library, and a complete outside wireless coverage. Plenty of switches for all drops. And then the fun part, we can show that WAN. So here's that, not the WAN. This is the fiber work that's being done at the schools. So this is the connections between buildings. So it's now 1 gig. When the work's done, it'll be 20 gig. Well, how do we get to 20 gig? It's because we're going to build redundancy into this. So we will have, there will be 2 switches in the IDF, 2 switches in the MDF. When we connect that building, we put a connection in each switch. But we don't, and we make both of those live at the same time. So instead of a 10 gig connection, we have a 20 gig connection. And why would we need to do that? As we go further and further in advancements in wireless, these wireless access points are going to start requiring 10 gig. They're going to start producing 5 and 6 gig. Let's say new building at the high school, 16 classrooms in one IDF, 16 access points. You're going to squeeze that into a 1 gig connection back to the office. That's a bottleneck. That's a bottleneck. That's a bottleneck that a lot of districts that aren't thinking of that are going to run into and not know where it's coming from. You know, I have high-speed equipment, I have high-speed access points. Why is it so slow? Well, it's the bottleneck connected to buildings. And the cost to do 20 gig is a small cost. It's another patch cord. It's another set of optics. It's a no-brainer to do a 20 gig connection between our buildings. So now let's look at our connection.
And I'm sorry, so you're talking 20 gigabit per second of bandwidth, not necessarily speed.
That is speed. So you talk, speed is measured in bits. You know, so that's why you'll hear me, if you hear me talk about speed and storage in the same sentence, I'm not misspeaking, I'm talking gigabit versus gigabytes. Bytes
We
are
got
storage,
a pipe
bits
that's
are
going
speed.
10, and we got another pipe going 10. The two together aren't necessarily doing twice as fast, they're just pumping twice as much.
No, they are, it's called a port channel. And that port channel combines those 2 ports, and it runs traffic. It runs traffic across those 2 ports. So let's say just we have 10 gig of traffic. It's going to run 5 across one, 5 across the other. But it's going to, I'll get too technical if I explain it any further than that. But that's what it's going to do. That port channel creates one 20 gig connection. So our 1 gig to our WAN, to our internet, our WAN connection, wide area network, meaning connection from school to district office, goes from 1 to 10. But like I said, let's get to 10, and then I will have some conversations with them. 1, about dark fiber. 2, about, hey, Sinesis, how about you give us a second pair of fiber so that we can run a port channel and actually. There, we might not be able to do a 20 gig port channel because they probably charge us too much for it, but we at least could do 2 pair and have some redundancy there. Because there's redundancy, there's going to be redundancy all throughout this network. No single points of failure. All right, so I hope I didn't take too much time. Now we can do questions. Any other questions? Glad you asked questions during it.
Another Norman?
Hey, on the megabytes, I guess, what's the average cost gonna be for 1 megabyte per month or so? It's a recurring cost.
Yeah, it's a recurring cost. So if we get into our WAN, the current cost of our Sinesis WAN, which is fiber with 1 gigabit optics, is $7,000 a month before discount.
For all the
Negative.
schools.
For all the schools, $7,000. What the contract for now is to move that to double the cost for a 10 times increase in speed. So it's a very, to give you an idea, you guys, you know I came from a big district. And you know, when you work for a big district, you can get big time discounts. Well, we're paying $500 less per site for our 10 gig connection. So even though Synesis really had us over a barrel, because we were at the beginning of a 5-year contract, they came with a very, very competitive price.
Also, does it seem reasonable that 1 megabyte supports about 1,000 students at this time?
That's really difficult to measure because you have to look. So if you say 1,000 students, are we talking about 1,000 devices connecting? And what are those devices doing? I've always said, even in my previous district, I said, we need to prepare for the oncoming explosion of devices and explosion of bandwidth. We saw the explosion of devices because on that network in my previous district, we had 35,000 devices connecting every day to our network. But we didn't see the bandwidth explosion. Why was that? It's because most of those devices were in kids' pockets. They were in the teachers' pockets. They were just getting email updates, maybe getting a text. They weren't being actively used in instruction. That's when we're going to see the explosion in bandwidth, is now the majority of those devices are being used for instruction, and they're being actively used in instruction. Now we're going to see a bandwidth explosion, because now the bandwidth going to those devices is going to explode. And that's when this network that we build today really goes into action.
So are we starting from scratch with this proposed network?
No, we're not starting from scratch. For the Synesis part, we are taking what they've already done. We're having them change out the optics and give us more bandwidth, more speed.
We're modifying existing systems?
Yeah, that's for the WAN. For the internet, we are changing service, but we're proposing that we change service providers for the internet. And I can speak to that if you wish me to when we get to that contract. But we're not abandoning what we've done, we're increasing it. We're going from a 1 gigabit connection to a 10 gigabit connection. Now, when we talk network equipment, we're not starting over, but we're replacing everything. We're replacing everything.
At one time, there was a power outage in Temple City, selected area. I think it affected the schools. This being able to monitor and tell whether something's down will minimize that problem.
That is critical. You don't start counting in nines, like I said, we need to start counting in nines. You don't start counting in nines until you have full monitoring. Yeah, you have to. I mean, give you an example, that power outage, 3.5 hour power outage. Did I get a single text? Did I get anything that said we lost power? No, I got notification from some users that email us down. I checked it, yep, we have a required email server, not email server, a server that the email needs, down at the district office. It was a 4-day weekend. I come in on early Tuesday morning and realize that all our equipment is off. Find out from a local, somebody that lives locally, yeah, we had a power outage for 3.5 hours. That's when all of a sudden I said, well, yeah, those cabinets, that UPS that I was going to do when we got the new equipment, no, we're going to do that now. Because if we have another power outage, I need to get a text that says, we've lost power. And that's exactly what this UPS will do. It'll give me a text to say, line power lost. Line power lost. I know if in 3 hours I don't get a text back that says line power restored, I am calling my guys who live closer than I do, go to the district office, turn everything back on. That's a lot different than coming in after the weekend. And then, especially the older equipment we have now, it took a while to get it all back up. Yeah, the new stuff will come up really quickly, but still, until you talk putting a generator, you really are limited to 2 to 3 hours of battery backup. That is cost effective. You can spend a lot of money on UPS if you want to get more than that, but I think that's reasonable, 2 to 3 hours of backup with notification so we know what's going on.
Member Morrison?
So it seems, in terms of student achievements, and that's what we're really here for, this is setting the bar that they just won't be able to get over for a long, long time. It gives them the freedom to grow exponentially, which is what we want. And it also opens the door for better communications between the classroom and the homes and whomever else needs to communicate. There is no bar, there is no barriers to prevent that. So that's one way to kind of swallow this and go along with it.
Member Dolber?
Just an observation, I guess, is I think one of the problems or concerns I have is that if it isn't reliable, which now we're looking at reliability as an issue in the .99, if it isn't reliable, most of the teachers probably will try it a couple of times, and I don't know what the level of confidence is, but if you can't get it to work the first couple of times, you probably don't try the third or fourth time. And so, in one sense, I see the increase in reliability as a key issue for us, because it'll ensure that the teachers will be able to use the system in a classroom environment without having to worry about having a backup or plan B if it doesn't work, which now I think most of them probably do, or they use it very selectively.
Yeah, I would say that's it. What we want to do is together, let's build a network and rebuild the trust of our users. Rebuild the trust. How do you expect them to infuse technology into into instruction if they're not sure that technology is going to work every day? We have to change that. We have to.
I'm interested, Member Bell, in what you think.
Oh, wow, I was just keeping quiet for now and listening to everybody's observations. I did, actually. Okay, so first of all, I think a lot of the folks that I know, I've had quite a history here in the district and, our use of technology and some of the challenges that we faced over the years. I will honestly say that this is the first time that I have seen something that has a clear vision, a clear path. So thank you. And the first time that I've ever seen a presentation that is truly enterprise class, and I know what I'm talking about. Really, I think in the long term, if we are able to successfully build this out, it will truly help at all levels. These are things that we shouldn't even have to think about. They should just work. And if we set it up the right way, with the right equipment and the right services, it will exactly be that. As an example, my daughter at Clover Lane. I'm a curious person, so I talk to the kids all the time. We're friends in some ways, and so 90% of the students there all have cell phones. It's a tremendously huge number. Now, does that mean that they use it? I'm sure that the parents have them bring it with them, keep it in their bags, for safety, after school, pick me up, or something like that. But you can see that this is really ubiquitous in terms of what's available. And I don't foresee that far further down the road where these devices are going to come out of their pockets and they're going to be a part of their everyday life and the way they utilize their curriculum, the way they access information. But the most important thing, obviously, is how we teach them to access information and to be good digital citizens and take responsibility for their actions. But in regards, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to divert away from that, but I do honestly believe that this is more than a sound solution. I think that there are technologies that are going to come about in the next 5 years, in the next decade, that we haven't even contemplated or considered, and bandwidth will be a big part of that. Nothing works without the web. Let's be honest. Maybe when I was in college, we could get by with Office and a few basic things, but in today's world, it's just not possible. So, thank you very much for presenting us with this. Okay, okay, all right, cool. All right, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. All right, so next we have the discussion, action agenda portion of our board meeting, items that may require discussion, but upon which the board is expected to take action during the meeting. Okay, next, item 20, business services. Can I get a motion to approve notice of completion and release of retention to AJ Fiskus Corporation for the Cloverleaf Elementary School Modernization Project? Moved by member Ridley. Can I get a second? Second by member Marston. Okay. Are there any questions or discussions regarding this?
Just one. Was any of the interim housing gonna be left on this site,
Yes, all of them.
which is how many, two?
At Cloverleaf, there's one.
Yeah, the one, building 21, classroom 21.
Okay. No, oh, no, okay. All right, if there are no questions or discussions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 5-0. Next, we have item 21. Can I get a motion to approve notice of completion and release of retention to Angelus Contractor Incorporated for the La Rosa Elementary School Modernization Project?
So moved.
Moved by member Nolenberg, second by member Ridley. Do we have any questions or discussions regarding this?
Same question. Can the interim housing staying on the
3.
three?
Okay.
And that's how many we put on and stuff?
Yes.
So all
Yes.
Okay. Member Ridley, and then member Palmer.
So just a quick question. I see that the final contract amount matches exactly to the budget amount. That's really great to come in exactly on budget to the penny. I'm just kind of curious how we accomplished that.
We had money left over in the interim housing budget, so we increased the construction budget for that change order from the interim housing. So we just brought over exactly what we needed. The balance of that interim housing budget went towards the program contingency.
So we don't show that here. We show what goes to the contingency is just zero.
Correct. But on the change order, the item that was brought to the board for the change order, that's where it showed how much money from the interim housing was coming to the construction budget to cover that change order.
Member Nolenberg?
here.
Oh.
Here.
Member Palmer, that's right.
I was just gonna, from the fiscal impacts, it looks to me like on these projects, we came in under budget in total.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
good.
Member Nolenberg?
I just want to just clarify, the interim housing that's staying, we put the interim housing under the bond.
Correct.
So the interim housing that's staying, we've already transferred the cost of keeping that, I assume, to maintenance or deferred maintenance or something.
So,
And-
sorry.
And then at some later date, if we ever remove the interim housing, which we may or may not do we have to set aside some contingency under the bond to be able to, since we put them on there, I mean, the bond should also pay to remove them.
No, so the bond paid for bringing them in and paid for leasing them to be there.
Right.
And there was a budget to remove them if we would so desire. But we decided to purchase the buildings, so they're already there. They've also been painted to match the rest of the school. So for the purchase of those portables and the painting came from deferred maintenance. They're completely separate from the
Right.
bond.
I just want to make sure the public
Sure.
understands, we didn't use bond money to, in a sense, to build classrooms, because these are, in a sense, what I would define as a new classroom. But the bond didn't provide any new classroom construction, per se.
Correct, just modernization.
Right.
That's a very good question. Okay. Member Palmer?
Just following up on that, so at those two sites, the interim housing was purchased from deferred maintenance.
I'm sorry, developer fees.
Oh, I'm sorry, okay.
No, I said deferred maintenance, I meant developer
From a
fees,
different
yes.
source, okay, but at other schools, that hasn't occurred.
Not at this time.
All right, very good. If there are no further questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and it's approved. Okay, so next we have item 22, and I have a statement for that. Item 22 is being pulled from the board's March 23rd, 2016 agenda due to an unusual circumstance that staff became aware of after the board agenda had been published. District staff had received and evaluated 6 bids. Well, in fact, a seventh bid had been received but not considered. Per the bid documents, bids were permitted to be delivered to the appropriate district staff electronically. The seventh bidder, Vector, had in fact timely delivered its electronic bid to the district server per the bid instructions. However, due to the size of the submittal, the bid was not delivered to the staff member's mailbox. District staff will bring the intent to award a contract back to the board at a special meeting in order for the board to fully consider all 7 of the bids received by the district. District's legal counsel concurs that the bid was timely submitted and must be evaluated. May I have well, I will make the motion. I'll make a motion to pull item 22 off of this evening's agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
Second by member Nolberg. Okay. All in favor? Aye. Okay. Aye. Okay, so next up we have item 23. I'll make a motion to accept receipt of bids and approve agreement with Net Experts Incorporated for District Fiber and Cat 6 cabling upgrade. This is about internet connections, and we just had a presentation regarding that. Can I get a second?
Seconded.
Second by member Ridley. Are there any questions regarding this? Member Ridley?
And I think you tried to answer this, it just didn't sink in for me.
Okay.
So if we okay this, and we don't get E-rate funding, or we don't get E-rate funding to the level that we expect, what happens?
Okay. So the E-rate funding to not the level we expect, very, very unlikely to happen. It's a is or not, but since that's a category 1 expense, like I suggested, that gets funded first. That gets funded no matter what discount level you're at. So good chance, there's very little chance it's not going to be, but we would have a decision to be made, because we would still qualify for California Teleconnect Fund, which is another discount, but we would no longer apply, we'd no longer get the 60% E-rate fund. So we would have a decision to make. It wouldn't be full price, but it wouldn't be near as discounted at the others, so without E-rate. So we would have to come back and say, what do we want to do?
So,
Somebody?
based on that response, or let me ask my question a different way.
Okay.
Does our action tonight approve a tech budget, which we have in our budget, of $124,000, or are we approving the $311,000 expenditure?
I'm sorry, I was supposed to start with that, and I did not. There is $750,000 that was already approved. It's in the tech budget, one-time money. That one-time money will be used to not only fund the 2 category 2 one-time expenses, but also the first year increase of the 2 reoccurring. So the reoccurring wide area network, Synesis, and the reoccurring internet service. The first year increase will be paid out of that $750,000. But one thing I forgot to mention, because this is E-rate, you approve it tonight. If we don't get E-rate funding, we're not required to do it. We can stay at 1 gigabit per second. But even if we do get approved, if there was a change, all of a sudden our budget is not looking very good, we could decide at that time, when we get an approval letter, that you know what, we can't do it. We can't afford to meet our match. So we're going to stay at 1 gig. So even with the decision tonight, that 1 is not locking us in. Number 2, it doesn't happen without another approval if we don't get E-rate, because it's written into the E-rate contract that if we don't get E-rate, this doesn't happen. So if we're now going to make that happen, that's going to take another board auction to say, okay, this is a new contract that says we don't require E-rate funding, but we're still going to do it. Yeah, so we're not on the hook for it.
Very good. All right.
And I'll just reassure the board that we have had these same discussions with Andy. We've all spent a lot of quality time together in the last couple of weeks, and we asked these very questions. What if? And so we felt before we came to you that we were fairly confident that should E-rate not go through, that we do have a plan in place to talk about prioritization and what can we do going forward, because it really comes down to, it's not the type of thing that we can just put off, that it does affect our instruction. And so then we have had that discussion about, okay, given that these are, rather we're in a must situation going forward for the future, how then would we, for lack of a better way, to scaffold it or chunk it so that we could still meet the demands of the requirements to ensure our students and staff have everything they need, and yet stay within the confines of a tighter budget.
All right, very good. Thank you. Member Palmer.
Thank you for that reassurance, and I think we're all really on the same page that we want, as Member Marson said, our network to really be able to support the growth of our instructional services. We have tests that students have to take, standardized tests on their electronic devices, computers, or otherwise. So I appreciate very much the thought that has gone into this, the planning that has gone into this. Mr. Harper, I appreciate that we have finally a director of technology that really has a vision and can have a vision and is not simply sort of trying to fix one thing here, one thing there, which might end up with a number of different products or a number of different services. And maybe we just needed someone from the outside to come in and just help us all understand how we can get to where we want to go. But I appreciate very much the planning you put into this, and thank you for being here. And I think your wife is here too, so thank you for allowing him to work over here. And in general, my concern is the same as Mr. Ridley's. Are we committing ourselves to certain dollars where if certain discounts don't come through? But I think my concern is resolved, and I think this is a great plan, and I want to thank staff up and down for presenting this to us.
All right, thank you very much. I was going to suggest if something went wrong, I would hold the cables myself. All right, Member Marson.
I'll echo the same thing. Andy, it's such a pleasure to see such a great plan coming into fruition, and I appreciate all the hard work you put into it, and staff. It's obviously a grand plan, and our students deserve it, and of course that's what it's all about. But I do have just a question here about, I noticed that Net Experts, they bid on the switching and they bid on the fiber, but they weren't selected for the switches, and they only missed being the lowest bidder by $2,500 and change. Coming from, support with computers, and you have multiple companies involved in, one type of data, connectivity. It's whoever, did some work last is to blame who is causing the problem you have today. So you have too many people to call for troubleshooting. Wouldn't it make more sense to just pay the extra $2,500 and have one company do the cables and the switches?
We had an evaluation matrix that we put everything through. The 5, before what happened that's causing us to have to bring this back for switches, before that happened, we had 5 responders that met all the qualifications, because this was a CMAS bid, meaning you had to have a CMAS contract in your name. They all bid the same thing. They all bid Cisco equipment, according to what we specified. I specified Cisco equipment because that's standard equipment. All other manufacturers know Cisco equipment, so that's what you specify to make sure you're getting the level of performance that you want. But they all quoted the same thing. So when we looked at our evaluation matrix, it's all Cisco equipment. So for all the other items except price, we give them all the same score. Because what I failed to mention, this is a drop ship only. We're not asking for any professional services. We want them to put all these switches in a box and ship them to us. We'll take care of everything else. So that meant that, okay, this is price only, and I know they're only $3,000, but there's no other way I can bump them up because they're offering the exact same thing. And to give you an idea of what it was AAA was offering 64.5%. NetExperts was offering 64% discount, and the third was offering 63% discount. That was the difference in pricing. 0.5% between number one and number two, and 1.5% between number one and number three.
If I may, I just want to caution about going further in this discussion because we did pull a certain item and we don't want to accidentally trip into that. So, Member Nolan?
Yes. As I understand, some of this will be done during the summer? Whatever, what's the plan schedule for
Yeah,
trying to implement
let's take the contracts that are done, the main contract that depends on E-rate funding for timing, which is why we're doing it tonight, that we need to get in line, is the fiber and the Cat 6 work done by NetExperts. Now, I did have them quote after hours work. So they gave us a rate of after hours because we weren't sure we'd be able to do it during the summer, because depending on when we get in line for E-rate, will determine when they look at our application. Again, it's a priority, it's a category 2 application. They do category 1 first. So it could be E-rate timing when we get that funding letter that could cause that project not to be done during the summer. Then it's going to be done second shift, which means they start about 4 o'clock and they go to 11. It's slower because they cannot do any work that they can't bring the network back up for the next morning. So they can only do a little bit of work, but make sure you get that network. Don't take that network down for the next school day. That's the constraints they're in, rather than if we, hopefully by getting in line now, we can get an earlier approval and we can get them working during the summer.
Will we be looking at doing this on all campuses
All,
simultaneously?
they can, yeah, they'll usually have 2 to 3 crews.
Okay.
So they'll be able to do 2 to 3 sites at a time. We have to, summer school is an issue, so we can't do, we can't be taking summer schools down.
And we appreciate the question. We too have discussed this at length as to moving forward, we would then come back with a schedule. Andy has a basic schedule sketched out. We'd like to do some of the things in the summer, but it all is contingent on how everything goes forward, how the funding works, how the timing is, and what the needs of the sites are for us to be able to accomplish this.
Thank you very much. Okay, all right. If there are no other further questions or comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that's 5-0. Motion approved. Okay. All right, next we have item 24. I'll make a motion to accept receipt of bids and approve agreement with the Foothills Education and Technology Partnership for Internet Access Upgrade.
Second.
Second by Member Nolenberg. Any questions or discussions regarding that item? Member Nolenberg?
The county did not meet the requirements, is that?
No, the county, again, we used the matrix. That matrix, some of the categories in that matrix they determine on past performance. So, being past performance, county did not quite get the same rating as some of the others, which put Foothill limit. But even before we get to that, it's more about how good of a situation we have at Foothill. If you're familiar at all with Scenic and their Calrin network, it's an K-20 education network. They're co-located with Foothill, the Foothill data center, meaning that we will still use Synesis. We'll have a Synesis connection to that, but then we're directly connected to the Calrin network. That is a high capacity, high reliability K-20 network. It is a great place for us to be connected to.
if I'm not mistaken, you're talking universities and such, correct?
Yeah, K-20, so universities, K-12. Oh, huge amount of bandwidth.
Right, perfect, all right. Any questions or comments? Okay, nothing else, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0, okay, thank you. Okay, can I get a motion to accept receipt of bids and approve agreement with Synesis for our district-wide area network?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by member Pomeroy, second by member Nolberg. Any questions or discussions regarding this specific item? No, all right. Wait, everybody answered all the questions. Okay, all right, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, 5-0. Okay. All right, so thank you very much, Mr. Harper, for your time this evening. Next we have personnel services, item 26. I'll make a motion to receive 2016-2017 Temple City Education Association interest statements for negotiations with the district. May I get a second? Second by member Nolberg. Any questions or comments regarding this item? No? All right, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, 5-0. Okay, next we have, okay, can I get a motion to approve the 2016-2017 district interest statements for negotiations with the Temple City Education Association? Moved by member Ridley, second by member Nollenberg. Any questions or discussions regarding this item? No? Okay, all right, well, we look forward to this. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Okay, now let's go on to administration. Item 28. I will make a motion to adopt resolution 1516-15, excusing member Pomeroy's absence from the March 8th, 2016 special board meeting. Can I get a second? Second by member Nollenberg. Okay, and I believe this is a roll call vote.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Nolenberg?
Yes.
Mr. Marston?
Yes.
Mr. Pomeroy?
I abstain.
Mr. Ridley?
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
Did I do that right?
Perfect, yeah. All right, okay, so let's go on. Item 29. I'll make a motion to receive for second reading and approve revised board policy 2121, superintendent's contract. Can I get a second, please? Second by member Marston. Okay. Any questions or comments regarding this item? Member Pomeroy.
I'll just reiterate from our discussion at the last meeting that this is to put into place certain changes to the law, and that doesn't tie our hands as to future contracts, but simply lays out what the law requires and things that we have to keep in mind at the time that we enter into future contracts.
That's perfect. Thank you very much. Yes, and that's just, to keep in compliance with our current standards. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 5-0. Okay. Okay, may I get a motion to receive revised board policy 6173, education for homeless children, for first reading? Moved by member Ridley, second by member Nollenberg. Good evening, Mr. Kissler.
Good evening.
How are you? Are there any questions or comments regarding this item? Maybe enlighten us with some of these changes, or?
Absolutely. Thank you, Board President Bell, board members and guests in from the community. I'm here today just to talk a little bit about policy 6173, which really has to do with our homeless students. As indicated, based on what you just said, I'll go along with that. It has to do with changes in the law to make sure that we are in compliance with new changes in the law, how we report through our LCFF and LCAP, and how we really think about treating our families that are not so necessarily homeless, but are in transition. So we want to think about them and how we can report them in a loving way when we come before, whether it's the board, whether it's the county, whether it's the state in reporting, whether it's taking care of the needs of our students, finding resources for them within the community, around the community. We heard from the high school this morning, and one of the clubs that is generously working with some of those areas to support our families in the community, and those have direct supports for us as well. We also want to make sure that we incorporated any of the language that the CSBA has recommended for boards.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kistler. It's, again, it is what we do here. First and foremost is about the children at all levels and making sure that we do right by them. So thank you very much. If there are no other further questions or comments, let's go ahead and vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 5-0. Thank you very much, Dr. Okay, so now let's go on to the consent agenda portion of our meeting. Routine items approved by one motion and one vote by any member of the board or audience requests that any item be reviewed and voted upon separately. Okay.
Mr. President, I would request that item 31 be voted upon separately.
Okay, absolutely. Make a motion for that? Is that correct to have item 31 be voted separately? So is that separate motion? Okay. And is that before or after? Usually after. Okay, all right, so I guess we will modify the motion to approve.
Consent calendar except for item 31.
Yes, everything on the consent calendar except for item 31. Okay, can I get a second?
Second.
Oh, second by Member Marson. All right, okay, very good. I thought I did, but maybe not. Okay, all right, yeah, we're good. Okay, all in favor? Roll call.
I have a question or two.
Okay, I'm sorry, I apologize. Member Ritchie.
On item 33, our contracts and warrants, I notice we have a revised sheet before us that I'm kind of guessing it looks like the Babernick Prime Day regular annual audit was removed. And I'm just asking for clarification. Perhaps that was because we already approved it at our prior meeting.
Yes, excuse me. So at the last meeting, you approved our new audit firm, and that included in that definition on the agenda report only the annual audit. We also have an audit for Measure S. So this is bringing back the contract, which is a separate contract paid from bond funds for the Measure S audit.
Is that the only change to the sheet?
Yes.
That was handed out? Okay. Thank you. And then I have, I think, one other question. It is actually on item 31, so I'm done.
Oh, okay, very well. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 5-0. Okay, all right, now, I'll make a motion to, wait. Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting of the Board of Education of the Post-Employment Benefits Study Session of March 8, 2016.
Seconded.
Second by Member Ridley.
And then,
Okay. Yes, okay, Member Ridley.
actually, I would request that we add to the minutes at the bottom of the first page, where it states the general rule. I ask that in front of the general rule, as is stated on the revised document you have in front of you, that it label it as Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act, PEMCA general rule, to reflect what the general rule is actually coming from. And it's, that same correction is on the following page as well.
Okay, duly noted. Thank you. Okay, all right, nothing else? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I abstain.
I can't? No, I'm just kidding. Okay. All right, okay, very good. All right, so are there any board comments or requests? Member Goldberg.
A couple of them, this is more for information. Since we spend over $10,000 for the California School Board Association membership, could we have just kind of like a general thing of what kind of information we as board members or the public can get from this system? Because they offer an awful lot of stuff, but I'm not sure that we paid for all the extras. So I'd just like to see us
Okay.
get kind of a
Like a general
overview of what
Okay.
we the general public, or we the board members, can get out of this system in terms of information and that.
Okay.
Okay, that's one, and then the second one is, we're gonna have an update on the technology plan, and maybe what time frame we're looking at, so that we have a new technology plan, because the old one went through June 30th of 2015, and hopefully the technology plan will include a budget, or a budget estimate this time, because you didn't last time.
Okay.
And then the other one is, can we have a review of the Citizens Oversight Committee and what our responsibilities as board members are for that committee?
Okay. All right. I'll note it. Perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, Member Morrison.
I'd like at some point in time the opportunity to discuss our agenda and its layout and maybe some possible modifications to that.
Okay. Duly noted. Okay. All right, and if there are nothing else, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 9:06.
In memory of?
Yes, I'm sorry, you're right. Thank you. Thank you for that reminder. To adjourn this meeting in memory of Mr. John Bishop. Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Member Ridley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Keep it up.